Today we're going to take a look at layered quick pages, what they are, and how to use them. Here I have opened up one of our layered quick pages, and you'll see here that the top layer is white, and it has a little message here that you should delete this layer to reveal the layered quick page. The reason this white layer is placed on top of the document is to help the file size be smaller for the downloads. Layered quick pages can be very, very large, as you've probably experienced when you make a new layout with a bunch of layers. They can get very large very quickly. And zipping them doesn't help the file size very much at all. However, the way the file saving works, if we put a white layer box on top of the quick page and save it that way, the file can be significantly smaller. So that's why that layer is there. You can go ahead and delete it and get rid of it before you start working with your quick page. I also wanted to mention that in your downloads, there are also standard PNG versions of these quick pages. They're not layered, but they can be used in other applications that will not open a layered Photoshop file. Finally, these files have been provided as layered TIFF files, and the reason for that, again, is file size. A layered TIFF file has some built-in lossless compression, which will help the file size be much smaller than using a layered Photoshop file. Only Photoshop and Photoshop Elements can open a layered TIFF file, so if you don't have one of those two programs, you can use the merged quick page that's like a standard quick page. So here we are with this layered quick page open, and you'll see it looks like a layout, just as if you had created this layout yourself. And we have a spot for our photo, similar to a template that we can clip our photo to. The great benefit of a layered quick page is that we can change out any of these elements and papers for something that is more fitting to the layout that we want to do. So we can customize it, make it our own, change the journaling, the fonts, we can change out the word art if it doesn't fit, and we can even recolor things better to match our photo. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in the photo I've prepared here and clip it to the photo spot. And in order to do that, I use the Option key. I hold that in and then hover my mouse between the layers on the Layers panel, and that will clip my photo directly to that layer. Now I can hit Command T to resize this photo. And of course, in CS, I need to hold in the Shift key when I'm grabbing my corner anchors in order to resize. If I were in Photoshop Elements in the newer versions, I don't have to hold in that Shift key. And then I'm going to press Enter here. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do with this page is actually extend this box to be more rectangular. My photo here is very much rectangular. It's hard to squeeze us here into the square frame without losing almost the side of one of our faces. So I'm going to go ahead and select the photo layer, press Command T, and I'm going to enlarge this photo box all the way out here to the edge. And press Enter when I'm done. And now I'm going to get the Move tool, that's the letter V on the keyboard, and just bump that box over the slightest bit. Now that leaves this flower over here sitting in the middle of Anna's head, so I want to move that. I could go over onto the Layers panel and hunt and peck to try to find that. And in this layout, it's not too bad. We don't have too many layers, so it's easy to find that layer. But one thing you can do in Photoshop CC or CS that is automatically turned on in Photoshop Elements is use the Auto Select feature, and that's right up here in the top left. When I click that, all I have to do is click on that flower in the layout, and I can easily move it over. And then I can turn that back off if it gets in the way. You can also, like I said, find it on the Layers panel and click and drag from there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the word art that came on this page. I am going to grab and sample that green color that we have going here, and I'm going to brighten it up. If when you select a color, you get a little warning triangle up here, that means that color is out of gamut, meaning it will not print very well. So if you just click on that, it will select the next closest color that will print fine. So it's a good habit just to do that. And now from here, what I want to do is go ahead and recolor the papers and objects that are blue here and make them green. So for this circle, I'm going to go ahead and add a layer over top of it. I'm going to clip it by using the Option key on the keyboard and clicking, and I'm going to fill it with that green color. And then from my drop down, I'm going to choose color. I can also play around with hue. They have different results, and usually I will prefer one over the other. So we'll go ahead and do that one. And then this paper strip, I want to go ahead and do the same thing too. So I'm going to fill that with green and go to hue. So now I have changed that to be green. I also think maybe my photo might be in need of a little more brightening, so I'm going to click on that and hit Command L and drag my highlights down a little bit. It just brightens it up a little. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and replace this word art here with some word art that was in the kit. So here I have the elements folder up, and I'm just going to scroll down here. I'm going to grab this one and drag it onto my layout. And then I'm going to click that and drag it over here underneath the paper strip where the other word art was. And I'm going to go ahead and add a drop shadow to it. The other thing that I need to move are these staples. These staples were over here when the photo was square. And so these need to be dragged over to the edge of that frame as well. So there we go there. Now the next thing I can do is go ahead and add a date flare over here in this area. So I'm going to go back to the elements, and this came with some dates here, and I need to find June. I'm going to bump that to the top. I use Shift Command bracket to bump that to the top, and then I'm going to use Command left bracket to bump it down underneath this flower here, and then tuck it right in there. And then to copy the drop shadow style, I'm just going to drag the FX icon from one layer to the next while holding in the Option key. I also want to go ahead and replace this ampersand. So I'm going to turn this one off and click on it so that when I drag a new one, it's going to come in the same place. And there was a corkboard ampersand in here, I believe. Yeah, there were a bunch of them. So I think I'm going to use this one instead and drag that in. There we go. And I'm going to bump that one up so it's on top of the photo. There we go. And then the last thing I can play with here if I want to is changing out the papers. So I've got some papers up here, and I can go ahead and play around with swapping those out if I want to. That's adds kind of a different look there from the plain white background, and I could go with that. I'm also wondering what this would look like used in place of that blue paper. So I kind of like that yellow bar right there. And then, let's see. I do like the scribbles. Let's take the scribbles in. I'm going to use that in place of the pink spot. Yeah, kind of like that there. And I think I'm going to leave the solid paper that's in there already, but I want to just see it with the black and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in, bump it to the back, move it up one. So I do like the way that that all pops on the black, but I think I like the white better. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that. So you can see I've been able to customize some of the features of this page since I have the layers. And now all I have to do is go ahead and find that journaling layer and edit the journaling, and then this page will be done. So it's just a lot more flexible than using a standard quick page where all you can do is drop in a photo and then perhaps cover some things up or add to it. You really have a whole lot more flexibility with this. I could even, if I wanted to, sort of swap the look of the page by rotating everything around, just like you would with a template. I could grab all of my layers except for the banner layers. Let's see where this banner layers went to. That's not it. Oh, they're there. I could grab all of these and move it down or tuck it under. I could do a whole lot more with that if I wanted to. So that's Layered Quick Page. I hope this tutorial has been helpful. Leave us a comment if you have any questions and we'd be happy to help. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.